guys! Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going down the relationship subreddit and the relationship advice subreddit. Just kind of see what red flag relationship people get themselves into. So we got our first story here. I, 27F, don't know how to trust my husband, 28M, after he secretly downloaded Tinder. Okay, that's already a red flag. I, 27F, found out my husband, 29M, downloaded Tinder and was talking to girls. We've been married for 6 months and together for 8 years. My friend sent me snaps of my husband's Tinder bio and I confronted him. At first, he lied, then admitted. We fought till he let me read the messages. None of these conversations were long, handful of messages, some initiated by him and some by the girls. The ones he initiated were sexual. He says he never would have acted on it. He says he did it because he wasn't getting attention from me, such as flirting. We talked for hours, and lots came up for us to work on. But how do I move past this and trust him? This seems so small to end on our marriage, but I can't stop thinking about it. There's so many red flags, and this one is not even funny. It is not small. This is actually huge because it's not just the act of him being on Tinder. Like, obviously that itself is a massive red flag and you should just throw the whole man away, honestly. Like, he's already planning. Everything has been strategized and planned. He wants to do this. He's cheating. He's initiating this. He didn't just make an account. He's also actively reaching out to these ladies. And I don't care what his excuse is, but then the problem is he goes and he turns that towards you. Blaming you for that you're not as flirty, you're not giving as much attention. You've been married for 8 years. Bloody hell. 8 years isn't going to be the same as the first couple of years when you're together. That's the honeymoon phase. Everything else but it doesn't matter. It's the fact that he's not taking responsibility. He's shifting the blame to her and trying to justify his actions through it. But that's just massive. There's obviously a lot. Obviously, this one's a little bit of a short post. There's probably a lot of info missing. But seriously, I would just throw the whole man away and get the hell out. I would run as far from this as possible. This is not small. And trust is very fickle. It is extremely hard to build, but in the moment it is broken, it is nearly impossible to rebuild that trust. No matter how hard you try, you can go through therapy, counseling, and all that kind of stuff. Yes, for some couples, it can work, but it really depends on how that trust was broken. This is something that you're never going to stop thinking about. Even 10 years down the road, you're going to be like, oh, is he still on Tinder? Or whatever it is that they use 10 years down the road. Is he still doing this? Is he still reaching out to these women and sending them sexual messages? And that's just not it. It doesn't stop there. You're gonna continue to go down that rabbit hole, and at the same time, it's gonna be really tough for someone to actually kind of dig themselves out of that hole too. Because no matter what you hear now, you're not gonna believe it because you're so focused on this. That's massive. It's already so broken. I would just get the hell out of there. So here we got another story. This one is my girlfriend, 32F of 7 months, was disappointed in my 32M Valentine's Day gift. Yesterday, my girlfriend and I exchanged Valentine's Day gifts. We've been working out more and more over the past few months together, and she's been looking for more ways to get healthy. So I got her a nice yoga mat, block combo, a month's membership to a local yoga studio, and a high-quality massage gun. That's not bad. She had expressed interest in trying yoga and had been having issues with muscle soreness. She got me a new insulated water bottle and some candy. When she opened her present, I could tell she wasn't super thrilled, but didn't say anything in the morning. After I picked her up from work, she admitted she was disappointed in my gift and had been expecting me to get her the perfume she had hinted at a month ago. Keep in mind, this perfume she hinted at one time was $600 a bottle, which was way outside my gift budget for Valentine's Day. I tried to explain to her that I couldn't afford a super expensive present so soon, after the Christmas season, but she asked me to drop the subject before she got mad. I dropped it off at her place, and she's been radio silent ever since. I don't know how to proceed with this relationship. I feel unappreciated for the thought I put into my present and honestly a bit used. Part of me feels I should apologize and put the perfume on the credit card. Still, the only part thinks that would only exacerbate the issue and set a precedent for the future present related behavior. I also shouldn't be adding to my debt for Valentine's Day. Simultaneously, I see a disconnect between the type of present she gets from me and the type she expects in return. I wasn't disappointed in any way by her gift, but her reaction has me circling back to it. I already had multiple insulated water bottles. The one she got is plain white and only $25. I don't like taking this transactional mindset about gifts, but it's hard not to when your significant other demands a $600 bottle of perfume for a gift on a day she previously insisted she doesn't really care about. OP did actually add that he is a full-time student, so that's also kind of why his income isn't exactly the highest. But I don't think this lady deserves him. 7 months, and you want a $600 bottle of perfume? No. Lady, no. Plus, the gift you received was really, really nice. And plus, it's Valentine's Day. Who the hell cares about Valentine's Day? It is all for marketing. Like, shoot me if you will. But, like, literally, like, it is just one stupid day. In my opinion, every day should be Valentine's Day with the one that you love. It really shouldn't matter. Like, and I don't blame the guy for like, hey, you know, I got her all this. She wants a $600 bottle, and she got me a $25 plain water bottle and some candy. Like she didn't even put any thought into it, and she's like expecting him to like pick up hints that she wanted this bottle. And what the hell kind of perfume costs $600? Well, I guess maybe like Valentino or something like that, but is that really worth it? Like, bro, can you just not? Like, honestly, she doesn't deserve you. Kick her out the door. Throw the woman away. She does not deserve you at all. Like, move on. You can do better than that. So we got another one here. My 32F ex-boyfriend of 5 years ago asked to meet up. I want to go, but don't want to cause problems with my husband, 33M. What is up with people? Quick backstory. I was in a relationship between the ages of 23 to 27 with who I thought was the love of my life. 3.5 years into a relationship, he went to work abroad temporarily by himself and slept with someone while out there. He called me to tell me about it. There was a lot of shock and crying and begging for forgiveness, but I ended it. We only saw each other in person once more when he came to collect his stuff, and he was very distraught by our breakup. It was rough all around. About a year later, I met the man who is now my husband of 1 year. I'm very happy in my marriage. We know everything about each other, including details of our relationships. A few days ago, my ex, who I haven't spoken to in 4.5 years, texted me and asked how I was doing. I didn't reply, and about an hour later, he asked if I wanted to meet up for coffee, so we could catch up and he could explain his actions and apologize to me again in person. He said he knows I'm married and is happy for me, but just wants to clear the air and have closure. To be honest, I do want to meet up with him. Why? I hold no resentment towards him. I don't think he is a bad person. He just made a horrible decision that did hurt me at the time and obviously ended things between us. This was a major part of my life, and I'd like to see how he is, as a friend, and just get some closure on that part of my life. I told my husband, who said it makes him a bit uncomfortable, but he understands why I want to go and the decision is up to me. The thing is, he's very nice and understanding, and I don't want to cause a rift in my happy situation now. Could I even bring my husband? I'm so torn and would just appreciate some advice on this if it's a terrible idea. I'm gonna say don't do it. You're putting at risk of a happy marriage. That's kind of hard to come by these days too, let's be honest. Just for what? For closure with an ex? Who shouldn't really even, if you stayed friends with an ex, that's different. But this is someone that you haven't spoken to in 4.5 years. Why is getting closure more important than your husband? Or your husband's feelings? He already made it clear that he's uncomfortable. But he's being the bigger man and more mature about it. and understands why. So like, he's a wonderful person, but don't go and throw that away for just closure. Like, you already know what happened. You left the relationship. You knew exactly what happened. The guy cheated on you. He slept with someone else while he was living abroad. Now, obviously, wasn't any coming back from that. So good on you for leaving him. But I would not put like my current husband's feelings before an ex who just wants to like, hey, let's go catch up, and I want to like apologize. There's enough apologizing. Like, he's already done that when they broke up, and it wasn't enough to keep her back. Like, why do you even bother? Like, what, so you can keep him as a friend, and now like what? Like, now that he's a friend, you're gonna cause a bigger rift in the marriage because all of a sudden your ex is back in the picture. Your husband's feelings, who's just being uncomfortable now, he's gonna be even more uncomfortable. That could really escalate, and it's obviously completely up to OP, but in my opinion, I don't think OP should be seeing her ex. Like, I don't think it's worth it. Okay, so we got one more story left for this episode, and this one is, how do I deal with an extremely negative wife who thinks she's always entitled to criticize, even when asked to stop? My 41M wife 40F is very negative and constantly criticizes everything and everyone, including me and our 2 kids. Ooh. We've been married for 15 years, and this has been her behavior since the beginning. But it's only in recent years that I've really seen it and gotten increasingly intolerant of it. Both of her siblings are this way too, and they definitely learned it from their mother. I asked her today what she would like to do for Valentine's Day, and she started immediately by criticizing me for all the things I always do on Valentine's Day that she doesn't like, even though a lot of it was blatant mischaracterization. Frustrated, I kept asking her to tell me what she wants to do, not what she doesn't want. She says I'm just controlling her, but I maintain that I'm asking for an answer that's positive rather than negative. There are infinite ways to get it wrong, but very few ways to get it right. So telling me what she doesn't want is terribly informative or helpful. Plus, the criticism doesn't exactly inspire romance. She is like this in every other arenas of life. She cannot maintain good long-term relationships with anyone because eventually they do something she doesn't like, and then she begins to process of criticism and talks herself into believing they aren't worthy of having a relationship with her and lets it die. She sounds like a wonderful lady. After 15 years of marriage, we've been through a lot, and it's been much worse than necessary because of her constant negativity. The strength of our marriage has been tenuous in recent years as it is, and from my perspective, it's almost entirely due to her constant criticism. Not to say I haven't also contributed. I have. I've told her how anyone can point out a flaw or something to criticize about anyone or anything. Always, and that doing so unnecessarily degrades the quality of relationship and interactions. She won't hear it. In her mind, she is always entitled to criticize, and that if I don't like it, it's because I'm too immature to hear it. She is extremely dismissive of my feelings. We've both been to therapy and marriage counseling in years past, which helped us through a lot of issues. But in my mind, this is the last great hurdle in our marriage. It has caused me, and especially the kids, a tremendous amount of undue grief to deal with her constant criticism and resulting emotional outbursts. I know that if I were to see this post, it would only fuel the fire rather than cause her any amount of self-reflection. I'm open to more counseling, but she is not, and says she knows better than the therapist at this point. No. After she had a disagreement with our last therapist. Of course she did. Of course. If I was OP, I would protect the kids. They have 2 kids. I don't know how old they are, but them being in their like early 40s, like, these kids are very young, and obviously we've seen what happened with the mother. If she learned it from her mother, and same with her siblings, it's a learned behavior, and you're not going to change her. So you're going to have to protect your kids first, in my opinion. You don't want the kids exposed to this kind of stuff. Imagine just growing up and all you're just facing is criticism. You're not going to develop properly. Like, sure, you don't want to, as a parent, you shouldn't be like your kid's best friend or anything. Like, you should be teaching them. But if you're constantly being just berated by your mother all the time over literally everything and every small thing, that really affects the kids. in a bad way, like mentally, like they're going to develop a lot of mental issues in the future. Kids remember this kind of stuff. They're little human sponges. They will remember. Like, you cannot say that kids will not remember this kind of stuff, or they don't know how to process it. Exactly, they don't know how to process it is how they're going to develop all these mental illnesses. That's not good. And now he's just enabling it. He's in a way where he's letting it happen. He's not protecting his kids from it. It's just, he's letting it happen. Like, she's not going to stop. You can't change her at this point. I would try to get them out of the situation, or like try to get the kids out of the situation, and himself as well too. That's what I would do. Like, I would get the hell out of there. 15 years of marriage, you would think this person would probably want to like maybe change a little bit for the better. Sure, they've been through counseling and all that stuff. Counseling only works if you really, really want it to work and want to change for yourself and for the person. So seriously, I don't know. I would run. I would come up with a plan. I would find some counseling for the children. I would also try maybe talk to a lawyer and see how to slowly start getting them out of this situation, because it is not a good place to grow up in. Anyways, thank you so much, guys, for joining me on this episode here of the relationship subreddit. It's kind of hilarious how many red flags there are, and people just really ignore them. We've all been there, but it's one of those things where like you can't look away. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these stories, so stay tuned. And don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Stay shiny.